The so-called weak verbs are not really weak. They're normal, just based on the kinds of letters that are in them. But because in a learning grammar, we learn with verbs that can all take dagashim and don't have any special traits, we call the other verbs, when they have these other letters in them, weak roots. That is, they have letters, consonants, that cause certain things or cannot do certain things, so they're weak in that sense. And we name the different letters, of course, by the paradigm word pa'al. So we call the first root letter pe, the second root letter ayin, and the third root letter lamed. So in the case of weak verbs, there's basically 10 normal kinds and a few others. Now the first 5 kinds are words which have gutturals in them. And so the gutturals can be in the pe position. And then we treat aleph separately because pe aleph verbs are just a little bit different than pe gutturals. Then there's ayin gutturals, where a guttural is in the middle position of the word, or a lamed guttural, where a guttural is at the end of a word, or again a lamed aleph, which acts a little bit different from the other lamed guttural words. And then there's words with Jonah letters. Now, the Jonah letters are letters that make up the ancient prophet's name, Yonah, Yod, Vav, Nun, He. And when these letters occur, they tend to disappear in certain circumstances. So there's the Lamed He, when the He appears in the third position, Pe Nun, when the first root letter is Nun, and what's called either Ayin Yod Vav, or more commonly, hollow, because the middle root letter is Yod or Vav, and so it seems that the root is hollow, and Pe, Yod, Vav. All of these are words which have Jonah letters in them. And then the last kind of weak root is the Ayin, or the geminate. That is, where the second and the third root letters are the same. So it's named after Gemini, the twin gods. The first 5 kinds of weak verbs, then, all have gutturals in them. And so for now, we can treat them as a class and then unpackage them further as we go along. So each of the 5 normal kinds of weak verbs that have gutturals, there are certain things that we can count on in them, because gutturals have certain characteristics that they share in common, especially the fact that gutturals and resh repel dagashim. That is, they don't double or assimilate with other consonants, and when gutturals are in the first and second position, that's in the pe or the ayin position, they reject dagashim and therefore cause compensatory lengthening. So while there's 5 different kinds, they all share that in common. In addition, when we think about the ayin letter, or the chet, ayin and chet attract patachs, no matter where they are in a word. So whatever the normal or regular vowel that we would expect in the case of words with ayin or chet to have patachs in them. Aleph also has a couple of distinctive characteristics. One is that it often prefers sagol, but the other, one that causes a little bit more challenge, is that they can quias, that is, they lose their consonantal character, and thus this causes a compensatory lengthening of the vowel near them. All of these are normal things that we work on when we work on pronunciation of reading Hebrew out loud, but these things also take effect in much the same way when guttural letters appear in verbs. Now again, the Jonah letters are Yod, Vav, Nun, He, and we can treat these just as a general class because they all share something in common. That is, they have a tendency to become swallowed up, just like the prophet, under certain circumstances when they're conjugated into different kinds of verbs. So, for example, the lamed hey has a hey at the end, which sometimes falls off. The pei nun has a nun in the pei or the first position, sometimes assimilates. Hollow verbs have a yod or a vav in the middle position, and therefore it seems like the words are hollow. And pei yod vavs have their own set of issues because they're in the first position of the word. So, for example, then, the hey drops off often when there's under certain circumstances when it's at the end of a word. And in reality, lamed hey words, verbs, are really lamed yod. And under certain circumstances, the yod will reappear. So we need to just be aware of the nature of hey as a marker, and under some circumstances, the yod that was really there that we can't see reappears. Nuns, as they often do, assimilate whenever they close a syllable, and this happens especially in imperfects and vav consecutive imperfects in verb conjugations. And again, yods and vavs can lose their consonantal character and then either drop out or assimilate when they're in the pei or the ayin position. That is, if we have a pei yod vav or a hollow verb. And it can't be emphasized enough that one of the really important things to help with the Jonah letters is to memorize the regular vocabulary. Vocabulary recognition goes a long way to solving our issues when there's less consonants than we expect when we're doing verb parsing. But basically there's these, of the 9 main kinds of weak verbs, there's the 2 main classes, those with gutturals, those with Jonah letters. And then there's the geminate. Geminates are a different animal. That's when the second and the third root letter are exactly the same. And the best thing to do is look it up in a lexicon.